Oh, I see what you did. You plus subtract.
All right, so we talked earlier today about fractions and what to do if you are multiplying fractions, but now what I would like you to do is go back to that paper, and I want you guys to look at problems 25 through 32. Why are we talking about 25 through 32?
Divide.
Because they are divided. So we have to just quickly divide. I am probably not going to go through every single one of these things, but I think because once I tell you a couple of times, you're going to know what to do. But looking at number 25, it says 2/3 divided by 4/5. 2/3 divided by 4/5. The trick was this. When you divide fractions, you change the divide sign to a times sign. Does anybody remember what you do after you change the divide to a times?
You have to do negatives.
You flip. Nope, you don't do the negatives. You flip it. What's it called when you flip the other fraction?
I don't know.
The reciprocal. Good. Yes. So in other words, you change the divide to a times, and you change the 4/5 to a 5/4. So this really becomes a 5 on top of 4 on the bottom.
Wait, does the 2/3 say?
The 2/3 stays exactly the same way. So what you really have here is 2 times 5. Now we're multiplying again, just like we did above. 2 times 5 is 10. On the bottom we have 3 times 4, which is 12. Check always to make sure that your fraction can or can't be reduced. 10 over 12, I believe, reduces to 5/6. So 10/12 is 5/6. Number 26, you change the divide to a times. What do I do with the 3/4?
Flip it.
Flip it. You flip it, and now you multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So we have 5 times 4 is 20. On the bottom we have 6 times 3, which is 18. What is 20 over 18? What does it reduce to?
1 to 1/9.
Oh, you changed it to a mixed number? Let's just leave it as an improper fraction.
Oh.
It's okay, because you know what? When you're working with polynomials, you don't leave them as mixed numbers, you leave them as improper fractions. Okay? So 20 over 18, what is it?
10, 9.
10 over 9. Let's just try a couple more, and then I think we have the hang of this. 7 divided by 8 divided by 1/2. That really means 7 divided by 8 times 2 over 1. So the numerators, 7 times 2 is 14. The denominator, 8 times 1 is 8. And then 14 over 8 reduces to 7 over 4. Yep. And then number 28, we have 1/3, change the divide to a times, make the 2 9s a 9 halves, multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 1 times 9 is 9. On the bottom we have 3 times 2, which is 6. And then you reduce 9 over 6. What do you get?
3 over 2.
3 over 2. All right, and if you want to finish up the last 4, you can, but I think we have the gist of this. All right, so if you flip over the paper that I gave you earlier today on multiplying rational expressions, on the back of it is dividing rational expressions. And we are going to do exactly what we did with multiplying, but we just have to apply that new rule about changing the divide sign to a times sign and then taking the reciprocal. Very good. That's all we're going to do today. All right, so I'm going to walk you through some of these. Problem number 1. All right, so the first thing I see is the divide sign. Do you see the divide sign?
Yes.
Change it to a times.
Done.
Change it to a times sign. And then we have 1 over r plus 8. My suggestion, because it gets confusing sometimes, my suggestion is to completely cross off this fraction. Cross it off almost so you can't even see it anymore. Remember what it said though. Maybe write it down first before you cross it off. The top of it is going to be an r plus 8. The bottom of it's going to be a 1. So in other words, I changed the divide to a times, I took the reciprocal. But if you can still see the original fraction, sometimes it gets a little confusing when you're writing on top of things. So, all right. Does anything cancel out right now?
No.
Because we are back now to a multiplication problem, just like we talked about, 10 minutes ago. So we have to factor, see if we have any terms that are alike. So let's factor the denominator first. What two numbers will multiply to give you an 80 and add up to give you 18? 10 and 8. So on the bottom we have an r plus 10 and an r plus 8. And I'm going to cross this off so I don't confuse it with anything else. The numerator can be factored too. What two numbers multiply to give you 110, and when you add them together, it gives you 21.
11 and 10.
11 and 10. So on the top, we have r plus 11 and r plus 10. I'm going to cross that polynomial off. Now, do we have any terms that are alike? Yeah, I think we can cancel a lot of this stuff out now. R plus 11, is there another r plus 11 that I can cancel it out with? No. R plus 10,
Yes.
that cancels out with that. We have an r plus 8 here with an r plus 8 there. What's left over?
R plus 11 and 1.
We have an r plus 11 in the numerator. We have a 1 in the denominator. Do I need the 1 there?
No.
No, don't need the 1. All right, you may cross off number 6.
Yay.
Number 6 gets pretty ugly. We certainly could do it, but I don't think we need to get that detailed. All right, number 2. Change the divide to a times. Change the 9 twelfths to a 12 ninths instead. It's a multiply problem now. If you can cancel anything out, cancel it out now. If not, multiply and then cancel out. Is there anything that I can cancel out right now?
No.
Divide by 3.
Yeah, well, I do have a 3 on the top, 3h on the top, and a 9 on the bottom. I could make the 3 a 1, make the 9 a 3. Certainly could do that. So I have a 1h times 12. What is 1h times 12?
12H.
12h divided by, and then on the bottom we have 11 times 3, which is 33. Is 12 over 33 reducible?
Yeah.
I think it is. Do it.
4 and 11.
We'll end up with 4 over 11, yep. In other words, both 12 and 33 are divisible by 3. You end up with 4h over 11. That would be your final answer. Number 7, change the divide to a times. Change the divide to a times. I am going to rewrite the reciprocal. I'm going to write the reciprocal before I cross anything off. So I have a 2b on top. On the bottom, I have a 110b plus 60. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross this off so I can't see it anymore. I'm not just saying that. I really think it's helpful to not even be able to see it anymore. Anything I can cancel out right now?
No.
Yes, there is
The
one thing.
two.
The 2's. There is a 2 on top, there's a 2 on the bottom. I'm going to get rid of them. Factor 44b plus 24. What do they have in common?
4.
A 4. Take a 4 out. So when I take a 4 out, I am left with what?
11B plus 6.
11b plus 6. I'm going to cross the 44b plus 24 off too. Factor the denominator over here too. 110b plus 60. What do they have in common? They're both divisible by 10. So I'm going to take a 10 out. So when I take a 10 out, I'm left with 11b
Plus 6.
plus 6. And I'm going to cross this off. Now do I have matching terms?
6. Plus 6.
Well, 11b plus
plus
6
yeah.
and 11b plus 6.
C.
What is left over now?
4.
A 4 and a
B.
B. So I have 4B divided by, what goes on the bottom?
10.
10. What is 4B over 10?
2/5.
2B over 5.
Yeah, 2B over 5. So in other words, 2/5 B. 2/5 B. Uh-oh, where are we?
3.
We're on
3.
3. Okay. All right, 4. Oh, more than 4 more. Okay. All right. Change the divide to a times. So I change it to a times. I'm going to flip the second fraction, take the reciprocal of the second fraction. 7p over 30p minus 15. I'm going to cross this off. So I can't see it, and I'm going to start canceling. What can I cancel right now before I factor anything?
7.
7. We have a 7 on the top, a 7 on the bottom. I'm going to get rid of them. All right, 20p minus 10. What do they have in common? Both divisible by
10.
10. So I take a 10 out. When you take a 10 out, divide by 10, divide by 10. 20p divided by 10 is
2.
2p minus 1. The bottom. What does a 30p and a 15 have in common?
15.
Yes, 15. So I take a 15 out, and then I am left with 2p minus 1. I'm going to cross that off. Cross this off right here. All right, cancel things out. Any matching factors?
You have 2p minus 1 and 2p minus 1.
2p minus 1, 2p minus 1, very nice. What's left?
10.
10 over 15, which is
10 over 15p.
10 what?
10.
Where is the p?
Oh, on top. So
On the
it's
top.
P.
So I have 10p, leave the p wherever it is on the top, so leave it on the top. On the bottom you have 15. 10 over 15 reduces to 2 over 3. Yeah. So this ends up with being 2p over 3. Number 8, you change the divide to a times. Change the 11 ninths to be 9 elevenths. Can I cancel anything out right now? You cannot. So multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 4z times 9 is 36z. Denominator, 10 times 11 is 110. And I know because 36 and 110 are both even numbers that it is reducible. So please reduce 36 over 110. 18 over 55.
Z.
18z over 55. 2 more, you guys. Oh no, there's not 2 more, is there?
there's
No, 4.
4 more. Okay. Anything I can cancel out in number 4? Anything I can cancel out?
there you is.
No.
Doesn't look like it. So factor. This thing can be factored. N plus. By the way, this is supposed to be an n squared. It looks like maybe it didn't print very well. What 2 numbers multiply to give you a negative 32, and when you add them together, they get you a positive 4? 8 and 4. One of them's negative. Which one's going to be negative?
4.
The 4 is going to be negative. Yep. Can I cross that off? Whoops, I forgot to change that to a times sign.
Yeah, and if we add plus 1.
Change it to a times. And then I'm going to have n minus 9 on the top. I'm going to have 10n on the bottom. I'm going to cross it off. Matching terms. Anything matching?
N minus 4.
N minus 4. N minus 4. I I don't think I can cancel anything else out.
Yes.
No, you can't.
No, I can't. Yeah, no, I can't. So I have n minus 9 on the top. On the bottom, I have 10n times n plus 8. Number 9, change it to a times. The reciprocal is 8 over 2q. Get rid of that. I have a q on the bottom. I can get rid of one of the q's on the top, so I'm going to get rid of that power of 2 there. 5q times 8 is 40q. And then on the denominator, or in the denominator, 12 times 2 is 24. Reduce 40 over 24. What do you get? 40 over 24.
Thirds.
Yeah, you end up with 5q over 3. Now we have 2 more, and then I'm going to stop talking. Change to a times. We have 2s on the top, 88s minus 99 on the bottom. I am going to completely get rid of this.
You can take a 2 out, Candy.
2 on the top and bottom, cancel those out. And now I need to factor. What does a 32s minus 36? What do they have in common?
30?
They're both divisible by 4. So I take a 4 out. If I divide a 4 out of 32s,
You get 8.
you get 8s. If I divide a 4 out of 36, you're going to have minus 9. 88s minus 99. What do they have in common?
They have the number 8
No, there's 11.
and 9.
They both are divisible by 11, leaving you with 8s minus 9. 8s minus 9 and 8s minus 9 cancel out. All that's left over is
4.
4s.
4s
Oh, divided by
over 11. Number 10, change the divide to a times. 7 on top, 2x on the bottom. I am going to get rid of that. We have 5x squared times 7. That gets me 35x squared.
Can't you take one X out first?
Yep, you can. You certainly can take x's out to begin with. I'm going to not until the end, but that is, you don't have to do it that way. 9 times 2x is 18x. Check to make sure that 35 over 18 is or isn't reducible. I don't believe that it is, so you're going to end up with 35 over 18. But if I have x squared on the top and an x on the bottom, what do you have left over?
35x over 18.
Excellent. 35x over 18.